We now turn our attention to the epical news of yesterday. I confess I wasn't quite aware of what was about to happen, but here in Georgia, as the moment neared, shout out to Shay Kelsey, Spelmanite, who was like, "Yeah, y'all got to turn on the Beyonce Bowl." What? The what? What? Okay, all right. So the hive's not coming for me. Beyonce's halftime performance yesterday at NRG Stadium on Christmas Day during the Houston Texans versus Baltimore Ravens game was met apparently with mixed reaction. The 32-time Grammy-winning artist began the performance by singing 16 Carriages from her studio album, Cowboy Carter, while riding a white horse into the stadium. I guess we're going to talk about that horse and colors and old Denzel Washington movies. I'm sure we're going to get into all that in a moment. Her performance again brought up the discussion about what country music is. Tosha Love is here to help us. Tasha is a music industry insider. She's joining us from the ATL to discuss the impact, importance of, and why folks, at least some folks, apparently are so mad about Beyonce's performance. Sister Love, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hello, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
No, it's a great pleasure. Listen, we need to hear your voice right now. Could you walk us a little bit through both the performance last night and maybe put it into context and give us some of your thoughts about what we all witnessed last night?
Well, quite honestly, we witness history, right? Depending upon who you ask, let me say that. In 2013, Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl to 110 million viewers. In 2016, she performed with Coldplay and Bruno Mars to 115.5 million viewers. And last night, during that Christmas halftime show, which wasn't even the Super Bowl, had viewers from 200 countries. The performance viewers, the numbers spiked right before Beyonce came on. Everybody turned off after the game, aside, of course, from the viewers that were actually there for the game. But I think I'd be pretty hard pressed to find out who was actually playing. I ran from the kitchen with so many other of my family members, probably like you. You were like, Beyonce Bowl, what is that?
Oh, yeah, wait, yeah, right.
Depending upon who you ask, nobody even watched or knew what was happening during the game until B hit the stage. I mean, she's the queen bee, and I think that needs to be respected. 200 countries last night. There were people live streaming their performances from Thailand, from Japan, from Switzerland. Beyonce ruled the night hands down.
Okay, well, I tell you, yeah, and I haven't watched a down of the NFL. I will probably die without seeing another down since Kaepernick. I understand there's a phenomenal quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens named Lamar Jackson. I've never seen him take a snap, probably never will. But as you said, everybody's running from their plates, they run in to watch this thing.
Yeah.
So the phenomenon is uncontested. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about this in the larger context. I mean, we've all heard about the Lil Wayne so-called controversy and Kendrick Lamar performing in New Orleans. And we know that Sean Carter is involved in the planning of Super Bowl halftimes. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about maybe the chess, not checkers. I've heard that bandied about in the last 24 hours, moves about that Miss Carter, that the Beyonce knows Carter is engaged in. Because could you put this in a conversation with what's going to happen in the Super Bowl in 2025? I mean, where does this fit relative to that? I mean, is there a larger strategy at play? Any thoughts on what's going on, even in terms of what she's trying to accomplish in this moment relative to this larger complex of sports and entertainment in this country?
Oh, great question. I think that anything with Beyonce knows Carter, Sean Carter, Blue Ivy Carter, I think we're looking at a dynasty here. And I don't think that it's fair for us to pigeonhole her to just being an R&B artist. She's from Houston. You think that she didn't dream of performing in Houston from day one since she first hit the stage, or when Matthew Knowles had her and the rest of her bandmates running around in heels? I think we really need to look at the larger scale here and see. She used to perform in high school talent shows. Let's take it back even before then. Okay, she was performing at talent shows, period, across the Texas area as a young preteen. Then she goes and she starts performing at talent shows, and then we all know Star Search, right? I used to watch Star Search when I was a kid. But now, look, now she's performing in her hometown at the Christmas halftime, at the biggest game ever, aside from the Super Bowl, we're talking again 200 countries, millions of viewers, millions worldwide. Do I think there's a bigger game here that's taking place? Absolutely. There's a strategy here. For the 2025 Super Bowl, we know that Kendrick Lamar is performing. After what Beyonce did last night with that drum line, the speculation is that now Kendrick can't come with a band, right? Because Beyonce took that drum line there. But is there a bigger strategy? Yes. We know that Netflix is now going to be releasing just her performance alone on their streaming platform. They of course are not going to rebroadcast the game. They don't want to see the game. We want to see Beyonce, right? The bigger strategy here is that on January 14th, there's something else coming. I've heard rumors of a possible tour slated from little hints that she was dropping through the previous tour. We just really have to wait and see. But I think that the bigger picture here is that definitely there's more to come. I can't pigeonhole her to what her husband has done. She wasn't there. She married somebody who is equally as big. They did a song about it. It's called Bonnie and Clyde and Let Me Upgrade You. So we already know that something else is coming from the Carters.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not one of those people who likes to engage in a lot of make believe, and neither
I'm
one
with
of
you.
them are in it. Neither one of them are NFL owners, and
Right.
so I mean, to the degree that they are performers, albeit rich ones. I mean, I think
Right.
you're raising something that is very important for us to consider, and certainly a lot of people are talking about the symbolism, and we certainly want to get into that in terms
Yeah.
of the show and everything was about. Shout out, by the way, to Texas Southern, the Ocean of Soul, making their second appearance in a major Beyonce platform. So it's good to
Right.
see that HBCU band culture, no question.
Right.
Um, you raised several things, and of course, my sister, and of course, Roland is from down there, Houston, Third Ward out there, Jack Yates High School. Think about the Shape Center there in Houston, where, like I say, when she was a little girl, girls' time, they still had her picture on the wall down
Right.
there. And, I don't think it gets any blacker in terms of her roots. I was recently in New York at a new exhibit at the Met called Flight into Egypt, which looks at African Americans and how we've engaged in this kind of study of ancient Egypt over the arc of basically 150 years. And Solange, her sister, has in the exhibit catalog a photograph of their parents on the Nile, and her father and mother are dressed in Egyptian attire. I mean, there's all of this deep grounding in Black history and culture flowing through the veins of both of those sisters.
Yeah.
And any thoughts on how Beyonce may be kind of wielding this immersion, this surrounding immersion she's had from the beginning in Black culture as a kind of point of entry to push back against an industry that not only has not always been welcoming, but that is this billion-dollar behemoth. I
Right.
mean, from what I understand, between Amazon Prime streaming a football game and Netflix doing one with no commercial interruptions, there seems to be this whole shift that has nothing to do with us as anything other than entertainment, but she seems hell-bent on not allowing this thing to roll over us without us gaining some point of entry to try to push back. Any thoughts about how she's using her culture as a weapon in this moment?
Yes. It's so hard for me to just sit here and be still and not nod to everything that you're saying. I know how passionate you are personally about our culture. I've watched you for the longest time,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and it bleeds through. So yes, absolutely. There's so much symbolism that happened last night from Beyonce. Her red carpet was the American flag. Did anybody peep that? I mean, she rode in on she rode in on the Lipizzere horse, which is a horse that starts out when it's first born. It's a black horse that is either born black or dark gray, but then turns pure white, which is used to pull carriages and perform. It's a stallion, and I think that I've heard some rumblings go on TikTok. There's a variety of conspiracies that talk about how this symbolism here could either be the white horse. You remember that song that happened back in the 70s, right? The
Oh,
white horse.
yes.
That's a whole nother
Yes.
conversation. I don't know about that message, but I can certainly see where the horse turning from black to white was the whitewashing of country music. That theory's been floated around. I personally like that and believe that. And I think it falls right in line with her stance as to how the CMAs denied her this year with 0 nods. But here she comes in riding on that horse. And she snags 11 Grammy nominations, 5 of which are in the CMA American Roots category. And it puts her at just 1 nomination shy of being at 100 Grammy nominations throughout her career. She's younger than me. I mean, what a young, amazing artist that we've watched grow from, like you said, from when she was in Girls' Time to just being a star that is consistently being denied by not only some of her culture, her own culture, but of course the white community. Just because she came out with a country album from her own, this is from her roots. Okay, we have to really pay attention to how country music is trying to close the door on such a prolific artist in the music industry. And so here she comes with the flag and all, riding in on a white horse with a giant middle finger up, and I'm not mad at her for that.
No, I ain't mad at her either. In fact, that last thing, when that red, white, and blue phallic symbol unfurled from between her legs and hit the ground, I'm like, oh, no, oh, you're not playing.
No.
Okay, I said,
she knows her history. She knows her history, and she's letting it be known that she knows her history. And not only that, she wants other people to know the history. You know, right now the controversy is, and I don't know if you were going to touch on this really quickly, but, you know, people are talking about the finger guns that she did. There is an autographed picture that Dolly Parton has that is up for auction right now, where she's done the same gesture with the gun pistols that is right now up for auction for over close to $1,000. And that is just because I don't think people really know about it. But Beyonce's not the first. But no. What she is saying is that I will not be the last Black artist that does country music. I'm not even the first. I'm just showing you how many of us are out there.
Absolutely. No, we're going to touch on that in a moment. And so I'm going to ask Reese to jump in. Reese, any thoughts about what we saw and any thoughts of conversation for Sister Tosha?
Of course I have thoughts. I mean, the Beyonce Bowl was absolutely sensational, spectacular, magnificent. It was like a love letter to Black America. I was like, this is how I would have felt if Kamala Harris had won. We would have had our little Black girl magic moment. We would have been like, yeah, we running shit. So I absolutely loved every single moment of it. I mean, she gave every emotion. And I loved that Black women were able to be centered with the Blackbird quartet, that she highlighted Black women country music artists. She highlighted Black men country artists, and she just owned a whole ass stadium. And so it gave everything. It gave more. You know, you always think that it's going to be hyped up, overhyped, and then she delivers even beyond anybody's wildest expectations. But I just want to take a moment to say, can we normalize not giving a fuck about what racist white people are triggered by? Like, at the end of the day, Beyonce is that girl. She doesn't have to ask permission from the Country Music Awards funky ass or anybody else to get out there and perform the Cowboy Carter, perform country music, reclaim it for Black people. She can do that shit because she's Beyonce. And if you're mad about it, you're going to have to stay mad about it, because you can get Trump, but you cannot get Beyonce, okay? We had a dance party with Beyonce and we loved every moment of it. Netflix is very smart for putting it on, because I will be restreaming it with my sound bar blasting next time. And if you don't like Beyonce, who cares? She's been famous for 30-something years. There are no more cookies left for people who like Rihanna or Mariah or whoever, Taylor Swift, more than Beyonce, because she is and has proven that she is one of the greatest entertainers of all time. So that's my comment. Now for my question for Miss Tosha.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the special guests she had in the audience? I mean, in the show, we know that she had Blue Ivy, but there were also other people that she kind of gave a platform to, like the first Black rodeo queen and others. So can you just shed a little bit of light about some of the special guests throughout the show that she highlighted?
Sure. First of all, I 100% agree with everything that you just said.
Thanks.
And then, two, I think, the one thing about Beyonce is that, especially that she does, that I especially love is that she will recognize those that have come before her. Now, we all know the theories of, oh, she bit this person, oh, she took this style, or she canceled this artist. So, she just corners the market. But one thing that she did here, she was extremely smart. The some of the artists that she featured was one, Shabuzi. Shabuzi is number one right now in the country music charts. Let's just keep this 100. When Beyonce put Shabuzi on the album and she highlighted him, there were certainly rumblings. His music really was getting on the charts. But once Beyonce featured him, I don't want to take anything away from his talent, but he did shoot to number one, because now not only are there white country music artists just listening to him, now you have Black rappers listening to Shabuzi. It wouldn't surprise me if Lil Wayne would have an album with Shabuzi. So I think that we really need to pay homage to that. Certainly, she featured the banjo solo. The artist was not there that actually did that, but there was Tierra. There was Post Malone. While Post Malone is white, he's still on the chart. And in fact, he's number 2 on the chart. So what Beyonce's really doing is she's crossing these boundaries by saying, listen, I'm not really trying to acknowledge color here in the country music, but if you want to go there, okay, I can cross back over into another genre and make it number 1. And I think that that's what is really, really important here. Not only that, but she featured, again, just the drum line. The drum line to me was impressive because I went to Morris Brown College.
No question.
You want to talk about a drum line? We got it for you. I mean,
come on,
and everything. But before I came from New York, I was not aware of the drum line. And then, of course, I get to Morris Brown, where the movie Drumline is shot. There's no bounds to what she's done. And then if we're going to talk nepotism, and if Trump could do it, Beyonce could do it. I'm not mad at Blue Ivy standing there next to her mother on the biggest platform, the biggest stage, acknowledging that she is Texas bred. She's born there. I can't wait to go back to White Plains and do a performance in the middle of the square where I'm from, or go back to my high school and say, hey, I'm broadcasting from my high school. This is where I'm from. But I think we need to acknowledge that she was born there and she took it all the way back. And not only did she take it back, but she brought these other artists with her. And the women that did Blackbird all are historic within their own right. They all have their own music, their own albums. And, Beyonce, whether the CMAs allows her to or not, she's still going to get the country music sales. So you can keep your little award. That's not what we after anyway. It's really the sales and the money and the charts. So it really doesn't matter. The door has been shut on Black women before. All we do is come and kick it down. So what?
No question. Sister Joy, please, conversation with us.
Yes, you guys are leaving off right where I wanted to start. I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is a metaphor for life. Right? Just because you are not being recognized by the gatekeeper, whoever is the official person, you can just simply go around. Here we are on, the Black, news network, right?
That part.
That's right.
You can create your own. You don't have to do it through someone else waiting for them to acknowledge you. You can go direct to consumer. And so I love that in the same year that the CMA snubbed her, right, stupidly, while the rest of us embraced her and bought it and blew it up, and other artists are saying, hey, we want to be associated with that, because we know ultimately she's bringing in the dollars and she's bringing in the talent. She's bringing in great music. It's so silly. But to then I'm not a big fan of the NFL, trust me. I'm not a big fan of any of these. I mean, I can't even. But the fact that but they're not stupid, right? And we know they go where it's hot. And they would not be, they are selecting her because they understand that's what people want to see. They understand that she's significant. So even if a gatekeeper doesn't see you, so you have to see yourself. And Beyonce sees herself, and you can see that. She sees her people, and she brings that to a multicultural audience. You would have thought only Black people were watching. That's how Black it was.
Right.
And yet everyone is watching. Everyone is watching. It's for everyone. And they're all getting a piece of that history. They're all being like, let me look this up. What was the significance of this? And in so doing, they're getting the Black history. They're getting what they're not being taught of in school. So I love it.
Right.
I love it. I'm all for it. Now, let me just ask you about the business.
Mm-hmm.
So Netflix. What I have been loving, look, I'm a Taylor Swift fan too. What I've been loving is that not only have they been doing these concert tours, they've also been making movies, right, of the concert tour, which it tells a unique story. So then Netflix is now going to re-air it. How can we, like, are we going to be seeing more of that? Where, you know, you have the concert, you have the ecosystem who watched it maybe in real time, or even if it's being shown on TV live, but then you have this whole other group that gets to re-air it over and over again, and how the artist's monetizing that.
Well, in my opinion, Netflix, this was one of the smartest moves, and we already know that Netflix has just stepped into an arena that nobody saw coming. You could never have told me that I wouldn't have to go sit in a movie theater. I could watch a new release at the same day from home with my slippers on and my hair up. Are you kidding me? And I don't have to pay money to go to a concert. I can watch a live stream from the own comfort of my home and drink Beyonce's whiskey if I wanted to while I was watching her perform. Netflix is super smart. There are 282.2 million people who are subscribed to Netflix. Like I said, 200 countries watched Beyonce last night, not just us. Right. And with this announcement that's coming on January 14th, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow there wasn't a Netflix tie to it. Who knows? I just believe that Netflix they see the bigger picture. They see that our music translates into buying power and spending power. Netflix really needs subscribers. You know, ask anybody who has a subscription, is somebody else on your account, okay? But if you, what Netflix wants to do is they want to make sure that they get our demographic. They know the power of the Black dollar, and they know that we will subscribe if we get to see content that is appealing to us. And so I do believe that this is a step in the right direction for Netflix. I do believe that once Taylor started dating Kelsey, I'm just going to keep it 100% real, I didn't know about Kelsey until Taylor. I just didn't. And then I started liking him. I started liking his appeal. I started liking
he's gorgeous.
Going on. Right. Yeah. I just started paying more attention to him. Now, I'm a New Yorker. I live in Atlanta. If the Giants, the Jets, and the Falcons aren't playing outside of what Sierra's husband is doing, I mean, I'm not there. But that's just me. I'm not a football fan like that. I did have tickets to the Falcons, but I was in the hallway, you know, where the real party was. So, you know, I'm that girl. I'm that social girl. But I will tell you that Beyonce doing this Christmas halftime performance was so appealing that.
Oh. I think we might have, it was so hot that it broke the literal connection, I suppose.
The CMAs took us out.
The CMA, there she goes. George there. Go ahead, finish. Look, go ahead, finish, Tasha. You were so hot, you just broke the screen. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry about that. People are calling me. I thought I put Do Not Disturb on. But what I was saying is that I'm really, you know, I am a music person. You know, I love sports. I can go watch it. I can hold a conversation with you about it. But what Beyonce did last night for our culture and pulling people, not just from, you know, downstairs who were, you know, dancing with the family, but they really pulled us into in front of our screens. And this isn't the last time that we've seen this partnership with Beyonce and Netflix by far. I don't think that this is the end of our partnership with Beyonce and the NFL. So far, this is her third performance. She's gaining millions and millions. And I'm not talking just single digit millions. She's already got 1 billion streams on Cowboy Carter. It's only going to go up from here.
Let me just say, my son just screamed out, don't forget Kendrick Lamar is doing the Super Bowl. I'm like, he missed
No
it.
doubt.
We already talked about it.
Yeah.
We already talked about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will be watching Kendrick Lamar recording
Me
because
too,
I
me
refuse.
too.
I will die before I watch another minute of NFL football, which kind of leads me to or anything related with it, quite frankly. So I mean, it leads me to my final question for you, Tasha. And you know, we always benefited when you were on with our brother Faraji and the culture here on the network. And so we look forward to this conversation, particularly, absolutely, emptying into the next year, as Joyce says, with Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl. Of course, we see our sister Missy Elliott there over your shoulder. Portsmouth is about 10 minutes from Norfolk, where she and Timberland mixing up. So with Mike Vick down there and Allen Iverson at the conference, I imagine in a minute Norfolk State is going to be what people thought Deion Sanders was going to try to pull off at Jackson State. I guess my final question is, how much is too much for these white supremacists? In other words, the reason they have to defend country music, I'm from Nashville, so I understand, as you say, it isn't just culture, it's politics. And so how much blackness is going to finally become, in your mind, the tipping point? And you, like you say, you're working program directing, you help break Mariah Carey records there in Atlanta and beyond. You like you say, Missy, all these things, Black women in particular. I'm talking now about Missy. No shade. I mean, that one only have come from me from Mariah Carey. Yeah, but yes, exactly. But that having been said, and I'm glad you brought up Morris Brown. A lot of people didn't know there were marching bands at HBCUs before they looked there in y'all stadium and saw that battle between Morris Brown and the fictional Atlanta A&T. So, at what point does this kind of capitalizing on Black culture bleed so much into politics? And Beyonce tried to help the vice president get over the finish line. Of course, white supremacy is a little too tough this cycle, but how much longer before this bleeding becomes so political that they just drop all pretenses? They can't cancel her. So, I mean, is there a tipping point? I mean, you've obviously been a part of this work for quite some time now, long enough to see ebbs and flows. As 2025 opens and we see, as you say, Joy, Kendrick Lamar at Super Bowl, at what point does making a buck kind of clash with the politics that kind of tries to keep us in line?
Well, listen, I've spent the last, I don't know, so many decades. I hate to age myself in the music culture, but immediately, of course, I can think of a song, Luther Vandross, Never Too Much, Never Too Much, Never Too Much.
Right.
Pops right into my head. Listen, we got to do what we got to do. I think we've been oppressed and held down for far too long. I think that our music is an outright expression as to from before we got here, when we were on the plantations, when we were finding our way with Harriet Tubman. We had so many hymns and just motivation to come through music. We just can't stop. I mean, Marvin Gaye wrote a song, What's Going On? We still don't know what's going on. I mean, it's the song is so prevalent today. We just really can't be stopped. And if we need to put hidden messages in our music, then that's what we're going to continue to do to the end of time until the message gets out. Kendrick Lamar coming into the Super Bowl is a bold, brave, decision made, and I understand that people were hurt by Lil Wayne, who sits on my wall here, one of his platinum albums. But I think what we really need to do is, in this day and age, we need it to be heard, no matter if they hear it just on a surface level or if we hear it down to our bones. I think that we all need to dive a little bit deeper. And listen to the lyrics that were being said. And as far as politics is concerned, we need music to get us through these next 4 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And quite honestly, the messaging outside of what you all provide and what the Roland Martin Network, what comes from it, we're going to need hidden messages in the song in order to get it through. Because quite honestly, you know, with newspapers are going out of business, it's not being printed. TikTok is the new source of information. YouTube is the next source of information. And quite honestly, music is the gateway for that. And without the message getting through, it's going to be missed. I have a 10-year-old son. And he and I are in deep discussion. I let him listen, the clean versions, of course, to Kendrick Lamar. We listen to Wu-Tang. We listen to KRS-One. We listen to Queen Latifah.
Okay.
We listen to Sister Soldier. We listen to Run DMC. We listen to LL because he's one of my faves, because I need him to know the soft and sensitive side. But I mean, you know, you mentioned Norfolk State. My dad went to Norfolk State, so I got a shout out to my dad. But I think that the times of us of our music being stolen from us are gone. I think that if we continue to push the bounds and cross into where they don't want us, I think this is just a normal path for us. This is not new to our culture. It might be new to other people because we've been suppressed for so long, but all in all, we're just not going to take it anymore. And if we need to claim it on the music charts, this is what we're going to do.
No question. Well,
Dr. Carr, can I add one thing?
Oh yeah, please.
Not that Tosha didn't say it all, but I just have to say that when we're in this anti-woke, anti-CRT, anti-DEI era where it seems like they're rocking up win after win, I think that Beyonce shows the limits of that. You can kill DEI, but you cannot kill the demand from the people. You cannot kill the way that Beyonce and Black people and our sauce and our swagger is always going to evoke the emotion, which is the opposite of the apathy that has gotten them all of these wins on the political side. And so what they should be looking at, instead of us looking at the limits and the tipping point, they should be looking at the limits and the tipping point of what they're trying to do, because they keep fucking around and we're not going to be having a debate about whether or not Beyonce is the greatest or whatever situation. We're going to be having the debate about the kind of things that they've had people in a slumber over. And so this is evidence of the limits of their political willpower over the people and what the people want to see.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're vibing on this call because that is literally what I was going to say. I mean, the fact of the matter is the NFL isn't just playing Beyonce because we listen to Beyonce or Kendrick Lamar because we listen to Kendrick Lamar. We love us, but they're doing it because white people, young white people, middle-aged white people are listening to Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar and all of those things, right? And when they are getting messages, they may not be getting the same messages that we're getting, but they're getting a message. Okay. And so when they go to their workplaces and they see some of the activities that their forefathers and their mothers and their grandfathers and even their older siblings are doing, they're starting to say, no, I don't like that. Young people were supportive of Kamala Harris. They are ready, right? Yeah. It's the older generations who are not ready. And that is why they are afraid. That's why they're trying to control what we do.
That's right.
In our classrooms and our education. And music is a way of circumventing that.
Yeah.
That's right. We really are doing that since Colin Kaepernick, when he took the knee, right? It just became this large controversy. Think about it. Think about what's happening here. Even though people are upset because Jay-Z came and started working with the NFL, technically, he's really doing the same thing. I know people don't want to hear that because of the optics of it, but technically he's doing the same thing.
Is he though?
If you look at every performer, since Jay-Z is taking hold, it has been a bowed knee. It is the knee. It is the knee.
He said we're past kneeling. I think he said we're past kneeling. And many of those old white men listened to Beyonce in their headphones as they walked into voting booths and voted for Trump. I've never really always understood. Remember as you say, you quote KRS-One, the tables turn as the crosses burn. Remember, you must learn.
Yeah.
So at any rate, they,
Come on now.
now they got white kids calling themselves. I mean, I'm just thinking about, MCs act like they don't know. But at any rate, I'm not sure about Sean Carter. And last I know, he and his friend Meek Mill bought a Maybach for a man who could buy that with his lunch money and put both them Negroes in prison. But at any rate, we'll talk about real power maybe another.
I just want to say nobody's saying this is revolutionary. Nobody's saying it's revolutionary. It's more so that it is absolutely, though, a display of the limits of what they're trying to do. Absolutely. They're trying to erase all of this. Even if this isn't the best thing to happen to Black people since the Civil Rights Act, nobody's claiming that. They don't even want us to have this much, but they can't help it because the demand far exceeds the power that they have, that we've allowed them to have because of our apathy. And so I know you're skeptical, Dr. Carr, and I will defer to you.
We're not skeptical. I know we've been.
Yeah, but you know what?
We got to take our wins where we can get them.
There you go.
But you know what?
A win is a win.
Yeah.
In the famous words of Kendrick Lamar, we're going to be all right.
Period.
People admit that. We're going to be all right.
Well, yeah. I guess we'll see. We'll see. So
Dr. Carr says they're not like us.
No. Look, I don't know who they and us is when you shaking a leg in prison jumpsuits at the Super Bowl, and 5 years later you're out there talking about they not like us. You mean like the owners in the booth laughing at you while you out there dancing in front of them? But we'll save that for the Super Bowl. But I don't even know who they and us is. But it's all good. But look, Tosha Love, you have given us a lot to think about, and between you, Joe, and Reese.
This conversation has to happen more. I love this.
Oh, no question. This is and only here. So it's good to see you again, sis. We got to have you back on the network very soon. Pioneer, industry insider, Tosha Love. Thank you for joining us again here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation 8 crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.